back with part 2 of The Godfather of Harlem, and I don't want to waste any time. Let's get right back into it. Another reason that I love this show, and most shows that deal with history, period, is I love when you can make learning interesting. Mm-hmm. Like when you can have people doing research, like you said, you was researching stuff, looking into things. When you can spark somebody's interest and make them want to learn more about your subject matter, I think you've done what needs to be done. Because even in this and watching this show, you've exposed yourself to more about all of these people. A lot of people, I'm sure, have exposed themselves to more about these people because of this moment that was portrayed. So I really like that people use this medium, which is television, to give insight into history and to give us the opportunity to look into these characters that was so influential in the way that life is now. Bumpy included, Malcolm X, all of them have a role in Black history. All of them are, to me, equally important. You found that quote?
I'm still looking. I'm in the.
I don't want to switch gears, but
go ahead, because I'll come back. I'll probably say that then or something.
Another big thing was father-daughter relationships, and I think we see it on both sides. We see it as the white father and daughter, and then we see the Black father and daughter, and we see two different issues that they got to deal with, but still two fathers dealing with issues of their daughter, quote unquote. So
I don't really think one was an issue.
I don't, but to him it was.
That's because white people. The issue was Vincent Chin,
Gigante,
Nasty Chin. He wanted to control his daughter's life, and first of all, originally she was in love with Lorenzo Bonanno. Yes, and he killed Renzi because he didn't want Stella to be with him. But then Stella,
she got a groove back.
She went Black.
And you know what they say. Once you go Black, you're going to need a wheelchair.
Oh, my God.
That's what they say.
That's what Terry Crews said, and we're not supporting him right now.
Oh, you are absolutely right. I'm so sorry.
Nasty.
Don't ruin my movies.
He's ruining it.
I'm talking to him.
Oh.
Dang.
But yeah, so
Stella Gigante.
Vincent wanted to rule his daughter's life, and that was his major issue with his daughter. That as a parent, you're gonna always have input on, who your child is with, and I think this person's not good for you, but to try to be a puppet master, a puppet master of their life and then their love life, that is a bit much. I think that.
I can't stand y'all. Go ahead.
I think
these puppet hands are driving me crazy, guys.
I think that Bumpy had a greater issue because number one, he was raising his granddaughter as his daughter, and she doesn't even know. And his daughter, at the beginning, she ain't know. No, she's nosy. That's the only way she would find out. She's nosy.
Okay.
So, and his other daughter is on the doogie. She's on that heroin. So, we talked about that earlier. We don't know exactly how she got on heroin. Maybe she got into bumpy stuff.
I was going to say, didn't she started getting on it once he went to jail, right?
What I'm just saying
we don't know how.
What I'm saying is, we don't know if it was because of his connection to it, or if she just was out, I want to try this one day, whether or not she was. Heroin is typically a Black people drug, so no, seriously,
statistics.
Yes, statistically, 7 out of 9 heroin users are Black people.
Anyway. We don't know people. Don't quote her on that.
I think that Bumpy's issue with his daughter, just the power. I guess they were both similar, in a power struggle kind of way. Because even at one point he was talking to Elise about, trying to move the family down, and he wanted her to release her rights because most times in Black families, when a grandparent takes in a grandchild, it's not through the legal system.
Yeah, it's not legally done.
But sometimes the parent will come back and like, oh, that's my child, and da da da. It's spaghetti in there.
I want that tax money.
Exact child. So those are the types of struggles that you typically have in a situation like that. But with her being, on that DG, it wasn't really an issue. But her getting clean through because of her relationship with Malcolm, which was a good thing. That began to be a power struggle all in itself, aside from just having to raise a little girl from jail and then having to send her away so that they don't get hurt in the life that you're living. So I think that, and I mean, maybe if Bumpy lived a different life and he wasn't a part of this life, he wouldn't have these same struggles. But as I feel, as a black woman in a white world, I feel like we're always going to have struggles and issues. And I mean, I'm not belittling their issues, but I feel like they just don't really have issues, honestly. White people. So I agree with you. There was definitely an issue, a father-daughter struggle on both sides. But I feel like one was
legit.
One was created. One was created on its own.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that preference of your child's desired partner is not life or death. I mean, actually, in that time, people were not...
Marriages.
Huh?
Somebody want to do arranged marriages.
Somebody do what?
Want to do arranged marriages.
Look, she's proud, guys. She's proud. Put the camera on her. She's proud.
But no, I think that the arranged marriages is throwing me. At that time, interracial relationships could have been dangerous, and
could have been.
They
were.
Yes, but in this instance, the harm was coming from her father. So it's like
that's how it always was. You little nigga, you whistling at my daughter.
That's true, but what I'm saying is the harm to her. Like in him hurting this black man that she's with, he's hurting her. And it wasn't until something so extreme happened that he was like, let me back up and let me chill. So what happened was Stella had a boyfriend. His name was Teddy Green, who was a musician. And then Bumpy came and told him, get out of town. Basically, like, your mother said you about to be in trouble, get out of town. So he gets out of town. This is at the beginning. And Stella said about it, whatever. Then Stella starts talking to, like, going around trying to find him, and his father thinks he finds out who he is and sends these people, his goons, to kill him. So they end up killing the wrong people. Is 2 people died? Was it just 1?
It was his homeboy that died, and it was the white boy that wanted to date Stella that actually murdered him.
Right. So this white boy that wants to be with Stella is trying to get
and
made.
He wants to become a made man.
He's trying to become a made man. So when
maybe we should explain what a made man is.
Go ahead, explain it.
So basically, I don't want to get it wrong, but it's basically a made man is somebody that can't nobody touch because the hierarchy of the mob has stated that they are untouchable, basically.
Protected.
No one within the family or the association of the mob can kill them. Of course, anybody outside.
That don't know no better. Yeah, that's different.
And so we see her trying to figure out, how can I be with this person that I love when it's causing so much conflict in my home? Her father hates it. Everybody in the mob is at his beck and call. So when he say do something, they gonna jump. And she basically is still like, I love this man, whatever. Teddy ends up coming back, and the guy, I can't remember his name, but the boy that wanted to be made, he was basically like, I'll do it, whatever. And when he finally, to me, the best part was when he said, like, he loved Stella enough to not do it. I respected that a lot. And, Teddy still got shot. It wasn't by him, though, fortunately. But with that situation, I think the part that really got to me is when Stella tried to kill herself.
Yes.
And
the father came in.
Chin came in and he saw it. First of all, he kept telling her to get the most random things for no reason.
Right.
Well,
bring some eggs. Get some water. Get the pillow in the back. Go get the soup that we made last week. Like, I was like, what are you calling for this stuff for? But to see him that distraught
over something that really he provoked.
Yeah. it was kind of the changing point, because then after that it changed to her mother being like, what you gonna do? She's still talking to this nigga boy.
His name
What
was
you gonna
Ernie.
do? Ernie. She's still talking to this boy. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? And he was like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing about it. After that whole situation where she almost killed herself, I had to learn that I have to back up in the area of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with that, I respected him. I'm sad that they had to get that far. And I think if he would have listened to her when she had the conversation, they wouldn't have had that happen. But on the flip side, with Bumpy and Elise, the situation I think is different, is because she was causing physical harm to herself. Now, when she started to get well, that was more difficult for him, because he's like, now she want to step up and try to be a mother and try to, threaten what's been our normal. Because Mamie was like, I don't want her taking our daughter away, practically.
But then I think the fear of it was not just that Mamie didn't. Of course, the biggest thing probably was that she didn't want to take away, because that's all that the young girl knew. But the fear of it is a fear that most of us have when we have addicts in our family or people that we know, is that, are they going to go back, and then what then happens to this child once that happens? Now, we all, of course, are hopeful that it will not happen, but there is always a stronger possibility that it will than that it won't.
Yeah, it was an episode of Blackish like that, and Dre and Bo took Dre's little cousin in. And he was like, getting her used to a schedule, giving her some sort of normalcy, a family. And then her father, who wasn't, I guess, on drugs, or somehow he wasn't a great dad, he wanted to come back into her life. And Dre was like, no, I don't want her to have to go through this again. And I don't want. And Ruby was basically saying, like, that's not for us to decide. Like, life is going to happen regardless. Right. And you need to give this man a chance. And it's like you said, it's a very hard dilemma to have, because it's like, do you step in and take care of it completely and shut that person out, or do you give them the opportunity knowing that this is going to potentially be worse than it started out being?
Right.
Because once you get trust back in the mix, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think their situations were different in that what Elise was doing was affecting her life. Like, literally, she could die at any moment. And what Stella was doing was a choice. Like, this is who she chooses to love. This is who she wants to be with. It's not killing you.
And she, well, both of them knew the repercussions to, their choices ultimately.
But the thing is, I don't want to say that. But the thing is, why is dating outside of your race, why does that have to have a repercussion? Like, you're in love.
Yeah. Right. Because of white people.
I was gonna say we talking about that because that's what the show depicts, but we can also see that his mom, what is his mom? I mean, what's the young man's name that she was in love with?
Teddy Green.
Teddy Green. We can see that his mom also was just like, because she knew of the harm of it. Yeah. That she was also,
and she probably didn't want him bringing a white woman home either.
Yeah. You know what they say? If she can't use your comb, don't bring her home.
That's what they say.
Who actually started saying that? Because
I don't know.
If we think about the use of the comb, we more so wouldn't be able to use the comb.
Oh, but I heard they had a black girl brush. I didn't know until I went to middle school.
A black girl brush? What you mean?
They said it to me, and I was like,
"Is it a detangling brush?"
I don't know. I never saw it. Oh, and I was like, "What's a black girl brush? It's rude." You know, we brush our hair. Don't y'all brush your hair?
But they said my great grandmother, she used to make everybody brush their hair every 100 night. Strokes a night.
Yeah, that's what they used to believe in.
Like a horse.
Yeah, that's what they used to believe in. It's really crazy. But we could see within the story also that his mother also kind of felt the same way, because she knew the repercussions behind if he was found dating or even out with this young lady, and she understood that they loved each other to a certain extent, where she used to let him go on her roof or whatever, wherever they used to be, and do whatever, but she was clearly visibly upset, at the fact that this is what they chose to do, because all she could think of is, this is my son, who every time he leaves out, he may not return because of this choice.
And then she wasn't sure what her intentions are.
That was the other.
A lot of white people in interracial relationships, I don't know about so much at that time because it was so much at stake, definitely more so here recently, they fetishize the idea of being a black person. It's like it's a to do on my list.
Right.
Okay, been with a black girl, been with a black guy, whatever. Or they use it to get their parents or whoever upset to prove a point. So she's like, you letting this little girl use you to hurt her father when you're going to end up dead. Like, that's not okay. And for black women, especially mothers with kids, to have your son, like you said, out here living his life, loving somebody in danger of dying, it's like, I would rather you not.
Right.
Like, life is already trying to take your life. Right. Let's not add any more weight to that.
Yeah. And that's the crazy part about it. And it's not that some of us parents, it's not that we try to take charge totally of their life, but it's just that fear of, this is someone that I brought in this world. This is someone that God has given me to raise up, to train, and they're a part of me. You know, they're part of me. So it's like, okay, I don't want to lose that. And that's like the worst fear ever. That's like probably a mother's biggest fear, is to watch their child die, or to know that their child was going to die. And that back in the day was a knowing. It wasn't an assumption. It wasn't like, oh, maybe. No, it was a knowing that if my son goes out here and walks or even looks at a white woman, he is going to die.
Whistles.
Yep.
Well, so we've talked about a lot. Still more that we should talk about in this show, but we can do that at a later time.
Yes.
I did want to mention one of my favorite scenes was the Fiddler Store protest, because it was just like the changing of emotion, like, because Adam Clayton Powell, who I honestly wasn't really feeling, we ain't getting to him too much, but I wasn't feeling him.
While he's a real person, I read a lot of things that said that they did a lot of basing his character off of the Reverend. You know which one?
Jesse?
Doctor?
Nope. Who you saying?
Jesse?
Yep.
I figured it was Jesse.
That's most appropriate. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I kind of figured that now.
And we just see him using opportunities for his political advancement. Clayton Powell, and I don't like that, but I guess both of them did it. Malcolm did it, and Clayton Powell did it. But it's just like the way that I felt Malcolm.
You felt like Malcolm was using it as a political veto, because he was told to stay.
He
out
was
of
using
politics.
it as a self for the Nation of Islam. So many times he's like, brothers, this is why, this is what
he saw. He saw it much differently than
Clayton.
Elijah. About
the only one.
Yeah, he saw it a lot different, because he did not like it, which is weird.
And I feel like he was more so, when he was there, he was using it to say, if we, like you mentioned that they said it earlier. I mean, you mentioned it earlier about how they said it in the show, or how he kept saying it in the show. If we can bring these people together, like, we'll be unstoppable. I think that nasty Clayton, he was. It was just like
self-interest.
Councilman Tate.
Yes.
Ooh,
yes, it was.
Definitely self-interest. That's a lot of black politicians.
But then when you sit back but what I did see is, like, Malcolm would sit back and just like you want to, and I think nowadays this is how politicians are also. Like, you need that airtime, I want to say. You need that, because you need the people to hear the voice. So that you can feed the people. But at the same time, it's like, do you want to go out there, and then people assume that you're out there for the wrong reason? So it's like a catch-22, because it's like, I'm really out here for the people, but then you have those people that's not out here for the people, that's just out here to get above the people. So
political agenda. Yeah. And that's crazy, to get above the people. That's wow.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not saying it like it was. I'm just saying that he was always offering the Nation of Islam as a solution. So
because he saw it differently,
right? And they both given at the end what they think is the solution. Clayton Powell thinks that he's the solution, and y'all need to put me in position. And Malcolm thinks if we militarize and we get our brothers together in the like mindset, which at that point was the nation, then we'll be good. So I just feel like that scene was great emotionally, because Adam Clayton Powell went up and said his piece, then Malcolm came up and said his piece, and those differences in opinion and perspective, and then the people sitting in there, and then like I think the riot started after that.
Yep.
It was just like, this is what we deal with all the time. Like, what choice are you going to make with all these facts that was just presented and all these feelings that you have? And even in the whole thing, Elise said, y'all out here making this into something that is not.
Right.
And the first thing that came to my mind was how many ways or how many times have we made a movement out of something that if the person was here, they might not have wanted this.
Exactly.
How many times?
Exactly.
The one thing
Because
that I
we
did
opportunity
is, I think even though she kind of told him like, you think this the first time that happened to me?
Yeah.
Like, I think that was the door for her and Bumpy to go through to get their relationship back together.
Oh, definitely.
I agree.
So that, if we're gonna look at some things, I think that's a good thing to look at.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
It's a door opener. Things, unfortunately, not the way that we think that they are happen, but they happen certain ways for a reason.
And I just have to mention it because it's hilarious. Big Dick Buster, guys.
Oh God! Oh God!
So,
like if y'all ever get in a situation with the mob or something, and they say they gonna get it out of you, just be careful.
It don't even have to be the mob.
It's just so crazy to me how
real right the street.
Yeah, it's just like this is such a common form of breaking
for men.
Yeah, we saw it in Snowfall. It's in this
it's
life.
so cringing. Like,
yeah, it is cringy.
Ooh, child, and I'm not even a man.
Maybe I'm a horrible person. I'm not sure. I can't call it, but
she was like that.
I wanted to clutch my pearls. Like, what she?
You did. You clutched them.
Oh, I did.
I think that is a very malicious act, but so like when we think about
capital punishment,
13 Reasons.
Oh,
what happened to?
Oh yeah, in the bathroom.
What happened to that kid? That made me like that was overwhelming. That made me sad. But Snowfall, I didn't feel sad about. I was like, dang, he getting it right now. And then in here, I was like, how does it feel? How does it feel?
Oh my, not good. Not good. Clearly,
it doesn't feel good. But my point is, you did that to someone, and now how does it feel to you? And now in Snowfall, he didn't do that to anyone, but he did steal the money. And it's I don't know. I mean, you guys are obviously going to start looking at me differently, but I am still a Christian because I did say that earlier in this show. Do I believe that the word says the whole eye for an eye thing? Maybe not an eye for an eye, but maybe we can call Buster.
We are not. We are not.
I'm not saying I wouldn't use him. If I was in this lifestyle, I'm not saying that I would.
Because you wanted a quick answer. Like, I feel like those type of people are used when you want a quick answer, but when
you want someone to really be punished.
Yeah. But when you really don't really care about if they give you the answer or not, when you just want punishment, then you go for the cutting of limbs and that type of punishment type thing. But when you just trying to wreck them for the rest of their life, basically, really damage them mentally and physically, then that's the route that they go. So my last word would be, don't let BD see you. BD.
BDB.
BDB. So
again, this series I think is amazing. We
so
didn't even
things
spoil the end.
Yeah, with so many things.
It's
we giving y'all time to watch it, honestly.
It's so great. It's so great. It's written very well. I haven't heard anything about next season. Y'all heard anything?
Oh no, that was another show that said it was confirmed.
No. Yeah, and that was
anything,
no, and it made me very upset because let me say this. I was very upset that I didn't get more. So that's kind of unusual that I feel that way because I was like, this is it?
I feel like you always feel that way.
Like, you think so?
Want more.
Yeah, because you always want closure in these shows.
Oh, yeah, but I did.
Because
like,
you don't know they gotta lead us on.
And and that's the thing. And I think I feel that way about shows when we don't know right away that it's the next season.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God, like I thought when I was watching it, which they clearly got on me about, guys, I was just like, we're not gonna see him die. We're not gonna see, like what's happening, all that extra. But of course, now that I sit back and really analyze what we were watching, and I saw him and Malcolm walk off, I was like, oh, okay. So now they're going to transition us to get to understand the total walk of,
Hey,
the process.
They set Malcolm's death up beautifully.
Yeah. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So I just think, like I said, if nothing else, I think you guys should watch it for a couple reasons. One, it is on a smaller network. Give Epic some play. Get them out here. They're making one of their first shows about black content and characters, which I think is very important.
Bravo.
Forrest Whitaker is amazing.
Amazing.
That's what I wanted to say. That's what my take home about this whole situation was. Like, she's always calling out people for being typecast, and to see him play in this role, not that he hasn't, played magnificent roles, but this, it's like,
you don't gotta cry about it.
I know, right?
It's like such a quote unquote gangster role, but he was also like so elegant, and boy, let me tell you, that switchblade.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a gun world right now, but if we was in a different time, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I used to want to carry a blade in my mouth like they do in New York, but I try to keep myself calm. Because
Bumpy was smooth with that blade.
He was.
Wasn't he?
He was.
And then you saw he passed the torch.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So, you guys just watch it and see.
Those kills were pretty gruesome.
They were.
Pretty gruesome.
They were gruesome, but they weren't. They were only.
He ain't get no blood on him.
Exactly. They were gruesome, but they were clean.
Yeah.
Like at the same time, and that's what I love about this. It's like, yes. It's like,
dang, y'all.
He's
like,
just so awesome.
It's so much to talk about this show. Yeah, it's like so much. I would dare not leave and like forget, like, because the one thing that I did want us to talk about just a little bit. I know we've talked a lot, guys. I know, but I'm sorry. All right, well, we can actually talk about the next show. But I just wanted to talk about the difference, the difference between old school and how old school was ran the streets and the new school.
It's no rules to this new stuff.
They talked about laws so much.
Yeah,
and even down to
they were rules, y'all. They were rules.
When Bumpy wanted to change things, he had to approach the mob, and he had to go and say, like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
The heads of the.
You couldn't just kill certain people. Yeah. And then when they shot him in front of his wife and his daughter, he was like, wife and kids, like, people was outside, limits. That's not okay.
But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, he did break the rule first.
He did,
because he killed the made man, but that made man was already
after
always
him.
Trying to kill him. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest thing. Well, not my biggest thing, because I didn't say that more than once today. But that was a big thing for me.
There we go.
Him being so loyal to the families and them still letting him be disrespected, but it was because he was a black man, and that's what most of the life boils down to for us.
And the thing about it is that they knew that he ran by a code.
Yeah.
And so every time somebody came to try to quote unquote rat on him, to the families or whatever, they were like, we know.
Because a lot of stuff they did was a lie.
Yes. They were like, oh, we know Bumpy, or he would be already ahead of the game and have already talked to the families, you know what I'm saying, to try to smooth things out, to try to get them to understand. So he knew the game very well. And like I said, there was a code, there was a law to follow. And these days, that's where y'all messing up at. Like, honestly, like, y'all don't have no kind of code. Y'all don't understand humanity. Y'all don't care about families. You don't care about generations. Y'all just care about.
Tell you, it's these young niggas. That's what it is.
It's crazy. Like, I ain't gonna get y'all pumped up, but I'm just saying, we gonna talk about it at the show. But the game would be a lot bigger, a lot smoother if y'all would follow the rules. You would make it a lot longer. But
and this is coming from an original Gambino.
The old heads had a structure, and I think
worked well for you.
Certain things should be amended, but certain things should never be tossed out. And if this is a life that you're gonna be a part of, with all that comes with it, the least you can do is have some sort of code.
Yes,
something.
Yes.
So it's just crazy now, honestly.
So get it together, Young Bucks.
Young Bucks. But yeah, so
dig into this show, y'all. Take some time, watch it. Ask for a second season. Make it known. Definitely let these people know that some awards need to be hidden their way for these characters. Honestly,
characters, costuming, setting,
the
everything
show
was
everything
awesome.
was perfect. You know what? And another thing I really loved was how they like when real things happen, like when the president got shot, they actually put that stuff on the TV for you to see, and that wasn't like I mean, we love reenacted stuff, and we love the shows inside the shows, but to have that actual footage, it just made the show seem so much more real.
It did, and then like
very
the reaction
seamless
of the people watching it, it just, like I said,
because it put them back in that, it put them right back in that place. You know, even if they were not a part of that genre and wasn't there, it was like, oh my God. Like you had all of them true emotions because you were visually seeing it, so you could really become that person that was watching it at that time.
Honestly,
so take the time.
I feel like I could watch the show with my grandmother.
Because
she'd probably be like,
yeah, I live this. I remember this.
Generationally, I think it applies and it works. And the themes are important. The things that they discuss, the things that they talk about, the things that we even touched on a little bit here, like these are important conversations to be had. So this show's great. We told y'all why. You know, go watch it. Let them know BGB sent y'all.
Yeah.
Let Forrest Whitaker know. If y'all can write to his production company, tell him to keep going. It's amazing. Shout out to all the actors and actresses that were
we are here for y'all.
It was great casting.
Yes, it was.
Everything was awesome about this show. Everything.
We could see that you all took your time and you cared.
Yes, somebody literally went through.
Yeah.
Historically got facts together, fleshed out characters in a way that we hadn't seen. It's just brilliant.
I respect it. You know, I'm here for shows that are written. You know, like good shows, like really going back to not just the what's them shows that I like, reality shows. So all right, I know, guys, I just gotta get a break sometime with my mind. All right, guys, so listen, we've talked a lot about this show because clearly we love it. We want to hear from you guys what you think about it. We know you watched it. Maybe this is a show that you could watch again and again and again, but also go ahead and let the people know, let the people hear how you feel about it and what you expect from the next season. You know, let's just start speaking that now. And email us and let us know how you feel at blackgirlbroadcast@gmail.com.
I was a little scared for a second. And also follow us on Instagram at blackgirl.broadcast_BGB, on Twitter at BLKGRL Broadcast, and on Facebook by searching Black Girl Broadcast.
And you know that you can find us on your favorite podcast site. Tell your friends to, subscribe and, hit the notification button so that, when your favorite girls are out and popping. Also, we are on YouTube. So you can see us in here kicking all the way. Because it's actually so much funnier. We're all very animated.
Oh, yeah. Until next time, support Black Brilliance
by any means necessary.
What Martin Luther King said, the time is always right. It's always time to do right. So just keep that in mind, guys. Always do right. Don't be ignorant, and always push and be more than what you are.